program. Ambassador Pinak Ranjan Chakravarti is a former secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs, who was the Secretary of Economic Relations. And Professor Abhijit Das is the former head of the WTO Center of the IIFT. Gautam continues to be with us also from near London. Let me first turn to Professor Das, because we look at the FTA as a big deal today. How does this deal, in fact, address certain structural imbalances? Because after all, it's taken a lot of time in negotiating, and supply chains have changed over the last few years, I mean, because of various other issues. So how does this address those kind of issues first, sir?
Thank you, Mark, for having me on your program. At a time when global trade is seeing turbulence on account of actions of US President, the FTA between India and UK gives a very important signal to the global community that two of the largest economies can come together, can find common ground, and can trade under a regime which is rules-based and not power-based. So that is the first very important point to bear in mind, that this FTA comes at a juncture when rules-based trading regime is sought to be thrown out of the window. Another important aspect of this FTA is likely to be the shift in the approach of countries from economic efficiency to resilient supply chains. Now, we haven't seen the text of the FTA, but it may not be inaccurate to speculate that at least some part of the FTA will have elements that might strengthen resilient supply chains between India and UK. So let me stop at that, and maybe we can discuss further details about the FTA subsequently.
Okay, let me bring in Ambassador Pinak Chakravarti. Deepak, can I bring in my producer? Can I bring in Ambassador Pinak Chakravarti? Yes, I can see him on the screen. Ambassador, before we get into the details of the FTA and start discussing what benefits it has, and as more details emerge, that what it contains, why did it take so long between India and the United Kingdom to agree on the FTA? This has been in the talks for a very long time. What were the sticking points?
Well, I can tell you as an insider that firstly, that FTAs are not new or sudden initiatives. These take time. I have myself been involved in some of the negotiations, not in the UK, but when I was in service. It does take time, particularly when you have a large array of items and tariff lines to be negotiated. So you have to do it line by line. And that is why I am hearing that this FTA agreement is probably around 2,000 pages. So you can imagine the kind of detail that we go into. Then, of course, there are demands from both sides. Okay, look, please reduce this on this, because both sides are seeking greater markets. And that is what happens when you negotiate an FTA, that you give some, you take some, and then you arrive at an equilibrium where you feel that finally when you feel that, yes, this is okay for me, and the other side also feels that this is okay for them, then only you have an equilibrium of mutual benefit. And that is where FTAs come into play. Now, FTAs were there even during the WTO regime, the MFN regime and things like that. But of course, as Professor Das said, that now that regime is being broken down. Basically, it is being overthrown by Trump's attempt to impose a tariff war on various countries. So I think, and that is why countries have shifted to negotiating FTAs or tariff agreements, as many people call it. So I think that is the fundamental basis on which FTAs are built. And of course, it's a strategic move. India and UK have a long-standing relationship. There is a very vibrant diaspora in the UK, and many of them are in business. And India will get access on many issues, but those are the micro details of the FTA.
Okay.